If you feel like life started without you and you're sprinting to catch up, this video is your wake-up call. You are already late, but there is one thing you can still do to change everything. Ignore it, and the gap only gets bigger from here. I know precisely why you clicked on this video. You feel the constant, heavy breath of the past on your neck. You look at the clock, at the years gone by, and you are gripped by the cold certainty that life started without you, and now you are merely sprinting to catch up. You look at others, the early birds who seem to have built their fortunes effortlessly, and you feel the debilitating anxiety of the late starter. The successful person, regardless of their age, always feels the clock ticking, but they use it as a motivational drumbeat. The unsuccessful person feels it ticking and allows the sound to paralyze them into inaction. We are here to choose decisive action. Today, we are here to choose the drumbeat. Let us not mince words, for honesty is the foundation of all enduring success. You feel the accumulated debt of wasted years and indecision. You feel the sting of opportunities missed, and the deep, profound regret over toxic circles and false advisors who held you captive. This pain is real. It is a sign of your unspent potential, and it is a force that, when harnessed, is more powerful than any early start. The depth of your current disappointment is the precise measure of the greatness you were destined to achieve. But there is a truth you must immediately embrace, a truth I have extracted from the meticulous study of the greatest industrialists and achievers of the last century. You are not too late, but you do not have time to waste. The remaining years must be managed with the financial and emotional efficiency of a world-class engineer, focused on maximum output from the moment you rise until the moment you rest. You may have spent your 20s, your 30s, or even your 40s drifting. Perhaps you were influenced by toxic circles that laughed at your ambition, whispering, "Be content with your lot." That kind of success isn't for people like us. You should be grateful for what you have. They convinced you that your dreams were foolish, that success was only for the exceptionally privileged, or those who started immediately upon leaving school. This insidious lie, the lie that your age or your past mistakes disqualify you, is the greatest failure of modern thought, and it is a self-imposed prison you must shatter today. I am here to tell you that the single most important action you can take to change everything begins right now, not tomorrow. Ignore the truth I am about to lay out, and the gap only gets bigger from here, leading to that ultimate final regret of a life unfulfilled. Embrace it, and the years that remain will become the most valuable, successful, and financially rewarding chapters of your life. This hour-long broadcast is your complete, non-negotiable master plan for accelerated success built on the bedrock of proven philosophy. The race against time, conquering the late starter's mindset. You cannot change the past years you feel you wasted. That time is irrevocably spent, and it is merely the tuition you paid for the wisdom you now possess, the painful wisdom of knowing precisely what not to do and who not to listen to. You paid a high price for your education in failure, and you are now the wiser, tougher, and hungrier for it. You have received the painful lessons of life, and now it is time to apply them for profit. But you can and must change your future, and that begins with the correction of your deepest internal flaw. You must seize absolute control of your mind. Are you watching, or are you deciding? The two cannot coexist in the mind of the successful individual. Your first and most formidable enemy in this race is not time, not money, and not a lack of education. It is the insidious, quiet voice of defeat that whispers, "It is too late for you, the risk is too high now, you have too much to lose by failing in public." That voice is a lie fabricated by the fears of others, echoing your own past inertia. That thought is a devastating magnet that attracts failure and repels opportunity, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of limitation. You have already paid the price of delay. Now, you must immediately replace passive wishing with active, intense, burning desire. A mere wish, my friend, is insufficient fuel for the rocket you must launch. A wish is a pleasant dream that evaporates upon waking, leaving no trace of physical movement or commitment. Desire, as the first step toward riches is a white-hot, non-negotiable obsession. It is a psychological force that compels action, a commitment that overrides the memory of past failure, and a spiritual conviction that makes excuses impossible. The late starter must demand success with a fervor that the younger generation often lacks, because you are leveraging a lifetime of accumulated frustration and debt into focused energy. You must hunger for success with a desperation born of necessity, fueled by the realization that this is your final, best chance for self-definition. The late starter often struggles with indifference or a profound lack of ambition, a psychological shield erected against the pain of past attempts or setbacks. You feel stuck, perhaps overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the gap you perceive, and secretly fear you are doomed to failure or poverty because you permitted others to hold you back. But I have studied thousands of lives, and I can tell you this: the difference between the person who feels stuck and the person who accelerates their life is precisely the intensity of their desire, which they transmute into faith. Mediocrity and apathy are the most expensive luxuries the late starter can indulge in. You must decide today that the pain of staying where you are is now greater than the fear of change. That shift in pain tolerance is the first, most powerful step toward riches. It is the moment you stop merely existing and start living deliberately. The great secret here is the concept of mental transmutation, a scientific process that requires discipline. You must take the corrosive energy of your regret, of your past failure, of your frustration with lost time, and transform it into the white-hot heat of desire. This is the alchemy of success. The intense energy of emotional pain is a powerful, dangerous force that must be directed toward a constructive goal, or it will destroy you from the inside out. Your anger at your former circumstances must become the pure, inexhaustible fuel that drives your engine of success. This is a scientific process, not mere wishful thinking. You are taking psychological waste and converting it into wealth, and this is the only way to accelerate your progress beyond the norm. The power of desire is not magic. It is the focused, deliberate channeling of emotional energy toward a single, profitable end. You must understand that desire is not a weak current of hope, but a tidal wave of intention that must be directed with the precision of a laser. Consider the remarkable yet simple case of Edwin C. Barnes. When he decided he must become the business partner of the great Thomas Edison, he possessed only two things: no money and a fierce, unyielding desire. The physical evidence of his life was failure and poverty. He was so destitute he literally arrived at Edison's laboratories like a tramp. Yet Edison, the great inventor, recognized the invisible force radiating from the man. Barnes' thoughts, his mindset, were those of a king demanding audience, a man radiating a singular, central purpose. He carried the aura of success despite the ragged clothes, and this mental projection made all the difference. Barnes did not arrive asking for a job. He arrived with a definite, burning desire to be Edison's associate, specifically in the marketing of the new dictating machine. He was willing to start at the most menial level, sweeping floors if necessary, but his aim never wavered. He persisted for 5 long years without a single word of encouragement from Edison, doing whatever work was available, all the while burning all bridges behind him. He mentally refused to be an employee, and his mind, through the power of his intense desire, created the opportunity, forcing Edison to eventually recognize him as an equal and give him the opportunity to market the invention that made them both rich. He did not ask to be paid until the opportunity arrived. He overrode the evidence of his senses. He proved that a definite, burning desire, backed by a persistent faith, can overcome nearly any physical obstacle or lack of capital. His success was an act of mind over matter, achieved despite a massive late start. This demonstrates the crucial mindset override required for the late starter. You must stop lamenting the years you wasted and start obsessing over the goal you must now achieve. This level of focus is your only acceptable option. The man who starts late must be doubly obsessed carrying the intensity of 5 years of waiting in every single action. If you stop now, the delay becomes your fate. This obsession is built not through vague hope, but through the deliberate scientific application of faith and autosuggestion. You are not a victim of your past. You are the chief executive officer of your subconscious. The subconscious mind is your greatest asset in this acceleration because it works ceaselessly, day and night, to bring you closer to the dominant images you feed it. Your conscious mind may doubt, but your subconscious will find the way, provided you give it clear, consistent instructions. Your subconscious mind does not recognize linear time. It does not calculate your age. It only recognizes the images and commands you impress upon it. If you continually rehearse the mental image of him, I wasted my 20s, or I am too old to start, your subconscious mind accepts this negative command as a law, and your body and efforts will follow its instructions, leading you inevitably toward failure. You are conditioning yourself to lose, and you are wasting the one asset you have left, the power of the remaining present moment. This is why success consciousness must be immediately cultivated. It is a psychological shield against the corrosive negativity that crippled your earlier life. You must establish a mental environment of success, believing that the achievement is not merely possible, but inevitable, provided you apply the principles with precision. The late starter must use the principle of autosuggestion, the agency through which the individual can voluntarily feed their subconscious mind with thoughts of a constructive nature, thereby translating them into their physical equivalent. You must systematically eliminate the negative magnet. Recognize that negative beliefs and self-condemnation attract misfortune, pulling you into a downward spiral of missed opportunity. You must close your mind tightly against all negative and discouraging influences, the fearful friends, the pessimistic family members, and especially the devastating fear of poverty, which is the most destructive of all man's fears. This fear can only be overcome by the realization that you have the power, through a definite chief aim, to create your own definite financial outcome. This process is not mere optimism. It is the fundamental, verifiable law of mental cause and effect. It is the only way to accelerate your progress and make your past life irrelevant to your future outcome. The late starter must be a master of the mind, because the material world requires speed. You must demand of your mind that it closes the gap, using the tools of visualization and spoken command. This is your intellectual starting gun, and you must fire it today. The crucial role of faith in acceleration. Let us delve deeper into the nature of faith, for it is often misunderstood as some vague religious hope. Here I speak of faith as an active state of mind. It is the absolute certainty generated by repeated autosuggestion that your definite chief aim will be realized. You must see the goal not as a future event, but as a present fact awaiting physical manifestation. For the late starter, this is crucial. When the weight of your past failures presses down, when the evidence of your bank account or your job title tells you you are behind, only faith, generated by the daily repetition of your written statement, can sustain your persistence. It is the antidote to the fear of time running out. You must condition yourself to respond to defeat not with doubt, but with the immediate question, what is the next step in my successful plan? That reflexive mental discipline is faith in action. Without this active mental state, the past will continue to govern the future. Furthermore, faith is the specialized energy required to bridge the gap between desire and its physical form. The late starter must cultivate this energy because their past provides no evidence for future success. Only their faith can supply the needed momentum. The necessity of the written statement. The act of writing your definite chief aim down is not symbolic. It is the physical act of defining a new psychological reality. The repetition of this statement, the reading of it aloud 2 times daily, is the mechanical process by which you bypass the logic of your conscious mind, which is burdened by the history of your delay. You are literally reprogramming the powerful central computing system of your subconscious. If you miss this daily ritual, You are effectively telling your mind to default back to the old, comfortable patterns of drift and procrastination. The successful application of this principle compensates for years of inaction by creating instant, focused mental momentum. You are forcing the universe to respond to the unwavering vibration of a mind set on a singular, profitable aim. This is the discipline that separates the dreamer from the achiever, and for the late starter, it is the margin of victory. You are building an internal compass that always points toward your definite chief aim, regardless of external storms. Specific action steps define your victory. The 6-step formula. Step 1. Fix in your mind the exact amount of riches or the definite goal you desire. It must be specific, a tangible number, service, or result, not merely plenty of money. Vague wishing is the enemy of the man who must accelerate his progress. This specificity is the first act of faith and the most crucial step in all of life's endeavors. You must be able to see, feel, and touch the outcome you desire. Practice daily auto-suggestion. Write your statement of desire on paper, detailing the exact dollar amount, what you intend to give in return, and the definite date for acquisition. Then practice it. Read your written statement aloud 2 times daily, once before retiring and again immediately after rising. As you read, see and feel yourself already in possession of the goal. Do this in a spirit of absolute faith, as if the money or the goal is already in your hands. This feeling of belief is the fuel that moves mountains and overrides years of conditioning. Eliminate the negative magnet. Make a decisive, non-negotiable mental commitment to defend your mind. Identify the person, the news source, the toxic social media habit, or the past memory that introduces doubt and negativity, and create a physical, mental, and digital barrier against it. You cannot afford the psychic drag of a negative thought. Your mind must be a fortress, guarded zealously against all forms of doubt and limiting beliefs. Every successful man is a master of mental filtering. Your journey from feeling hopelessly behind to achieving your great aim will require the discipline of a soldier and the faith of a prophet. This channel is your ongoing counsel dedicated to the specific, practical application of this philosophy. If you are serious about making up for lost time, if you are truly ready to pay the price of admission, I insist you ensure you are subscribed and that the notifications are set so you do not miss the ongoing guidance necessary to sustain this new life. Your commitment to this master plan demands continuous reinforcement, and this channel is your weekly mastermind session. The urgency of certainty, mastering indecision and procrastination. If you feel like life is sprinting past you, leaving you perpetually behind, it is because you are drifting without a compass. You are expending energy in a circle. You are busy, perhaps even exhausted by your labor, but you are not progressing towards your definite chief aim. You are busy, but you are not productive, and that distinction is the difference between a late start and a final failure. Are you ready to pay the price of admission, or will you stand paralyzed by choice? The majority of people, and perhaps you yourself for too many years, fail because they lack a definite chief aim, a central, fixed purpose around which all actions are organized. The late starter cannot afford to be a drifter, constantly influenced by the winds of circumstance or the often ignorant opinions of others. The gap between you and success grows only when you permit the thief of indecision to steal your time and your energy. Indecision is the silent assassin of opportunity, and for the late starter, it is a fatal habit. The late starter often struggles with the great enemy, procrastination. This is usually not laziness. It is the fear of failure masking itself as a need for more preparation, the excuse that says, I just need one more course, or I'm waiting for the perfect market. I'm too old to risk everything. You are waiting for the time to be right, waiting for capital, or waiting for a sign from heaven. But the successful man understands that the time to start is when the plan is at least 51% conceived, and you fill in the rest as you go. Perfectionism in this context is the enemy of prosperity and the ultimate indulgence of a limited mind. You must move immediately. Delay is the most fatal of all habits for the late starter, as it instantly compounds the years you already spent in stasis. Indecision is not merely a delay. It is the slow, silent killer of persistence. It is a lack of self-confidence and a signal that you are being easily influenced by the opinions of those who themselves have failed to act. It is a debt you incur by standing still, a tax levied by fear, which must be paid by your future success. Every moment spent in paralysis is a moment you surrender your future. The fear of being wrong, the fear of making a mistake, is holding you prisoner. You must replace the fear of mistakes with the persistence of correction. The successful man makes his decisions quickly and changes them slowly. The man who fails makes his decisions slowly and changes them quickly. You must become the former immediately, trusting your prepared mind and acting with urgency. Your swift decisions will give you the psychological edge necessary to compensate for lost years, turning time from an enemy into an ally. The high cost of indecision for the late starter. Let us be clear. The younger person who delays a decision pays a tax of time. The late starter who delays a decision pays a tax of survival. Your capital is scarce and your years are precious. Indecision is the acceptance of poverty, because poverty and indecision are ancient, inseparable friends. The truly ambitious person understands that any decision is better than no decision, for a wrong decision can be corrected with persistence, but indecision prevents correction entirely. It is stagnant. The late starter must view every morning as a starting gun, and every opportunity for choice as a mandate for immediate action. You cannot afford the luxury of second-guessing yesterday's decisions. You must learn from them and drive forward, securing the success that is only possible through momentum. Your ability to decide quickly is the single best metric of your commitment to accelerated success. I want you to consider the enduring lesson of the 3 feet from gold. Darby's uncle became gripped by the gold fever and staked a claim in Colorado, digging furiously until he struck what appeared to be gold. His hopes soared, but soon the ore disappeared, and he called it a temporary defeat. He quit, defeated, and sold his machinery to a junk man for a few $100s. The mining engineer who bought the equipment performed a simple calculation and determined that the vein had simply shifted. He discovered that the uncle had only stopped 3 feet from the greatest strike in the area. The second layer of ore was struck easily and yielded millions. Darby's uncle quit near the goal. This is the common cause of failure for those who feel they are running out of time. They believe the first difficulty is a sign to stop, not a sign to adjust the plan and persist. The story burned into young Darby's mind. He later applied the lesson to the insurance business, vowing never to quit when men said no. He persisted, never giving up on a prospect, and became a millionaire. He learned that quitting, especially after a delay, is the most costly decision of all. The universe often tests your desire just when you are closest to your objective, to see if your desire is truly a white-hot obsession. You, the late starter, cannot afford to quit. Your history of delay means your persistence must be doubly fortified. Your time is now too valuable to waste on the confusion of multiple small pursuits. You must commit to a singular, defined goal, a definite chief aim, and drive toward it with the focus of a magnifying glass under the sun. This focus will compensate for the years you felt were lost, creating a massive forward momentum that few others possess. The 6 steps and the immediate start. Remember, the formulation of the definite chief aim requires you to create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once to put this plan into action, whether you are ready or not. The inclusion of whether you are ready or not is a direct instruction against procrastination. It is an acknowledgement that your plan will never be perfect, and that the only way to perfect it is through movement. For the late starter, this phrase is a mandate for urgency. You must view the first 24 hours after reading this script as the most important hours of your financial life. You must start the action step of defining your goal and the corresponding daily act of persistence immediately before the inertia of your old habits can reclaim you. This initial burst of focused action is the psychological shock required to reset your mental timeline. Specific action steps commit to the 6 steps. You must execute this entire plan and commit it to writing. State your exact goal, what you intend to give in return, a definite date for acquisition, and create a comprehensive plan to execute immediately, whether you are ready or not. The action of starting, however small, generates the confidence you need and ends the paralysis of procrastination. Master procrastination with a daily act. Form the habit of doing some one definite thing each day, something that ought to be done and is related to your chief aim without anyone having to tell you to do it. This builds the muscle of initiative and self-control. This one definite daily act will compound over the months, closing the gap quickly and instilling the habit of success. Do not end your day until this single act is completed. Silence the critics. Keep your plans secret from all except your mastermind alliance. Opinions are cheap commodities, often dispensed by those who have failed to act. Talking about your plans unwisely allows others to steal your energy, plant doubt, and in some cases, beat you to the goal. Guard your intention as a precious seed that must germinate in darkness before it is exposed to the light. The intellectual bridge, using knowledge and imagination to leap forward. You may feel doubly handicapped by your late start and a perceived lack of education or capital. You may compare your formal schooling to that of the younger generation and feel overwhelmed. This is a profound error. Resources and credentials are secondary to organized thought and the application of imagination. You may lack the degree, but you possess the desperation and the life experience they lack. You are not too late, but you do not have time to waste. The real power to leap ahead, to bridge the gap between where you are and where you intend to be, comes from 2 sources: organized planning and the relentless use of your imagination. This is how you bypass the slow track and accelerate your timeline. The late starter does not have time for irrelevant schooling. You must approach the acquisition of knowledge strategically, as if your life depended on its immediate profitable application, because it does. You must determine the exact knowledge you need for your definite chief aim and acquire it immediately from the most efficient source available. This is how you compensate for a delayed start. General knowledge, the breadth of information we learn in school, is useful, but specialized knowledge, the depth of information that can be organized and applied to a single purpose, is the true engine of wealth. In the modern age, this means mastering the one high-demand skill that can multiply your value, not simply gathering facts. If you want a higher income, you must acquire a higher value skill, and you must do so quickly. This is your intellectual bridge to immediate success. Do not spend years acquiring knowledge you will never use. Do not make the mistake of attempting to start at the bottom. The man who starts at the bottom often only sees the bottom and forms the habit of looking around for opportunities there. You must aim 1 or 2 steps above the bottom to form the habit of looking around for opportunities that match your ultimate aim. This demonstrates confidence and a higher level of thought, compelling others to see you as a leader, not an apprentice. You must enter the market as a solution provider, not a laborer. The power of imagination is your greatest asset. It is the workshop of the mind, the place where desire is converted into gold. The late starter must use their synthetic imagination, the faculty used most often for converting desire into money, to organize their specialized knowledge and create a tangible product or service brief. Your plan must be so detailed that it almost executes itself, reducing friction and maximizing speed. Consider the woman who marketed her son's services. Unable to find a job for her son after his university education, she refused to lament his predicament. She understood the power of organized presentation. She created a comprehensive, multi-page plan book, a detailed blueprint of his abilities, a specific plan for the employer, and a proposed strategy for the first year. This planned presentation was so thorough, so attractive, and so professional that it secured him a junior executive position at the very first interview, allowing him to skip years of starting at the bottom and years of slow salary increases. She leveraged thought and planning to bypass traditional, slow systems. She used imagination to organize and dramatize his service. She presented not a hopeful employee, but a fully formed, value-generating asset. The late starter must adopt this same mentality. Present yourself not as someone seeking a job or money, but as someone offering an inevitable solution. You must demonstrate that you have done your homework and are ready to contribute immediately to the solution of their most pressing problem. This level of preparation is your compensation for the years you did not apply this principle, and it creates massive leverage in your favor. Specific action steps acquire specialized knowledge strategically. Determine the exact knowledge you need for your definite chief aim. Acquire it from multiple sources: your own experience, experts, your mastermind, and detailed research on your prospective endeavor. Your education must be laser-focused, serving only your chief aim, allowing you to bypass years of irrelevant study. Dramatize your service. Use your synthetic imagination to organize your knowledge and create a comprehensive, attractive brief, a written plan to market your personal services or ideas. This plan must anticipate every major question the recipient will have and must clearly articulate the return they will receive on their investment in you. This brief is your sales presentation. Aim high. Do not fall into the trap of looking for the lowest entry point. Study the people just above where you want to be. Start your application, your pitch, and your plan 1 or 2 steps above the position you currently hold. This is how you change the direction of your life quickly, forming the habit of high expectation. The force multiplier, leveraging cooperation through the mastermind. To make up for lost time and achieve anything great, you must realize a fundamental truth. No individual has sufficient knowledge or ability alone to create great fortune. The concept of the solitary genius is a myth. Great achievement is always the result of organized effort. Are you willing to shed your ego for organized power, or will you continue to bear the crushing weight of isolation and limited perspective? You must quickly form a friendly, harmonious alliance with others to create organized power that is intelligently directed. This is the Mastermind Alliance, and for the late starter, it is a force multiplier designed to instantly close the gap of lost time by giving you access to the brains, experience, and capital of others. This is the only acceptable environment for your new life, and it must be built with scientific precision. The late starter frequently suffers from the wound of a toxic circle, friends or family, who resent ambition and pull you back into mediocrity. You cannot rise to a higher level of thought while surrounded by people who are content with low expectations. You must be ruthless in defense of your future. This may mean saying a final, non-negotiable goodbye to people you once loved. Your association with people must be judged solely on its contribution to your definite chief aim and your mental state. Your mastermind is a group of people, any number, needed to execute your plan and achieve your specific aim. Their cooperation, their specialized knowledge, and their collective energy will give you the organized power that you would take years to acquire alone. This alliance is not merely friendship. It is a spiritual and financial contract built on trust and mutual benefit. It is the engine that drives your ambition forward, multiplying your effectiveness by tenfold. Consider the organization of United States Steel. It was not J.P. Morgan alone who created the $600 million corporation. It was Charles M. Schwab, then Andrew Carnegie's associate, who possessed an idea mixed with faith and a detailed plan. Schwab presented his idea to Morgan in a famous speech that convinced Morgan to organize the United States Steel Corporation, transforming one idea into one of the largest corporations the world had ever seen. Schwab leveraged the power of an alliance, the mastermind principle, to transform a definite desire into the greatest financial reality of its time. Schwab was not wealthy enough to build it alone. Morgan was not specialized enough to conceive of the structure alone. Together, their combined knowledge and capital created a power far greater than the sum of its parts. This organized synergistic power is what you must immediately tap into to compensate for your late start. Your mastermind is your secret weapon, but it demands perfect harmony. If you fail to maintain perfect harmony within your mastermind group, if ego, suspicion, or resentment creep in, you can expect failure. You must remove any member who loses faith in the alliance or violates your mutual understanding. This is a business alliance, not a social club. You must protect its integrity above all else, because its failure is your failure. To attract this alliance, you must develop a pleasing personality. This is not flattery or charm. It is the cultivation of sincerity, integrity, and genuine interest in others. People gravitate toward and cooperate with those who show them respect and value. This is how you become a magnet for help. You attract the cooperation necessary for organized power. Furthermore, you must be prepared to lead by example. You are starting late, which means you must take the initiative immediately. Adopt the attributes of successful leadership: courage, self-control, fairness, a decisive plan, and a willingness to assume responsibility for the failures of your mastermind group as well as the triumphs. A successful leader is not afraid to stand alone in his decisions, but he is never afraid to share the credit for success. Specific action steps form your alliance. Identify a minimum of 3 people, mentors, peers, or experts who possess the knowledge you need and are willing to cooperate with you to execute your plan. They must be aligned with your definite chief aim. Ensure perfect harmony. Schedule a regular, defined meeting where the conversation is strictly focused on your mutual objectives. If a relationship becomes antagonistic or unbalanced, you must sever it politely but firmly. Your time and mental health are too valuable to sacrifice for an inharmonious connection. Be a magnet for help. Commit to developing a pleasing personality by sincerely adopting the perspective of others. Before you ask for help, ask yourself, what is the specific, tangible value I am offering this person in return for their time and expertise? Always give before you ask. You have already identified the toxic influences you must leave behind. Now, you must identify the right influences to pull toward you. I want you to make your first public declaration here in the comments below. Write your age, your definite chief aim, be specific, and the one piece of specialized knowledge you need for your mastermind alliance. This is your first official act of taking initiative, and you will see that others on this path are ready to cooperate. The guarantee persistence and the law of increasing returns. You are entering the final stage of your acceleration plan. When you feel late, time is often perceived as a liability, a relentless enemy against which you are losing ground. But through controlled, continuous action and persistence, time becomes your greatest ally, working to multiply your efforts through the law of increasing returns. What is the price of your destiny, and are you willing to pay it in full, regardless of the years you spent in arrears? The late starter cannot afford to quit. You have already experienced the cost of delay. Now you must ensure you do not experience the cost of retreat. Quitting at the first sign of defeat is the most common flaw in man's character. You must realize that temporary defeat is never failure. It is merely a signal that something is wrong with your plan, or that your desire is not yet intense enough. You must view difficulty as a tuition payment for an advanced course in success, a test that once passed guarantees your passage to the next level. You must earn your way out of defeat. Your persistence is the sustained effort required to move from the point of temporary defeat to the point of victory. It is the insurance that guarantees success because it demonstrates an unshakable faith in your definite chief aim. Without persistence, the most brilliant mind and the most perfect plan are worthless. Think of yourself as a rocket ship launching into space. If you start late, you need an unparalleled source of fuel and perfect guidance. Your desire is the burning fuel, providing the raw energy for liftoff. Your definite chief aim is the global positioning system coordinate, telling the guidance system exactly where to go. Your imagination and planning is the engineering blueprint, detailing how to maximize speed and efficiency to reach orbit faster. Your mastermind alliance is the ground crew and mission control, providing organized, specialized power and continuous guidance. And persistence is the throttle that never closes, maintaining full thrust through atmospheric friction and temporary setbacks until escape velocity, your ultimate success, is achieved. We see countless examples that prove achievement is possible beyond the ages that most people quit. Consider the case of Fannie Hurst, who received 36 rejection slips before breaking through, demonstrating that the secret of success is simply the ability to withstand temporary defeat. Or consider the great actress Marie Dressler, who achieved an astounding triumph late in life, long after the age when most people accept mediocrity and resign themselves to failure. The mind does not have an expiration date. Only your willingness to use it does. Age is a limitation only if you accept it as such. You must adopt the one habit that guarantees you will be paid more than you ask. The law of doing more than paid for, law of increasing returns. Form the habit of doing more work and better work than that for which you are currently being compensated. This positions you for promotion, for keen competition among employers seeking your services, and builds strength like exercising a muscle that grows larger with every proper repetition. The man who gives only the bare minimum of service receives only the minimum of return. The man who gives more than is expected becomes indispensable, and wealth flows to the indispensable. This habit, more than any other, guarantees your success regardless of your late start by making your service indispensable. To ensure your progress is continuous, you must install a system of self-control and honest accounting. This constant inventory of your habits ensures you remain on the fastest track toward your aim, eliminating the tiny losses of time and energy that compounded into your late start. Specific action steps make persistence a habit. Review the 4 steps to persistence daily. A definite purpose backed by a burning desire. B, a definite plan expressed in continuous action. C, a mind closed tightly against all negative influences. And D, a friendly master. Mind alliance. You must check these 4 steps every single morning. Embrace the law of increasing returns. Commit to performing one specific act of service this week that is demonstrably better or more extensive than what is required of you. Do this not for praise, but for the cultivation of the habit. Look for opportunities to provide unrequested value. Rebudget your life daily. Analyze yourself tonight. Take 5 minutes before you sleep and audit your day. Did I spend money on distraction or investment? Did I do more than paid for? Did I let indecision steal my action? This daily accounting is how you build a wealthy life, correcting daily faults before they become lifelong habits. Reframe. Never accept temporary defeat as a failure of your purpose. Recognize it as a signal that there's something wrong with your plan, and immediately create a new one. Do not stop until the final objective is attained. Your final victory is inevitable, provided you do not quit. This message is for the one who worries the clock is running out. But there are millions more who feel the same burden of a late start, held back by toxic environments and the fear of taking action. If this plan has clarified your next step, your service to others is to share it. Send this video to someone who feels behind. You may be providing them with the single most important decision they make this year. Your time begins. Now, my friend, you have the master plan. You have the wisdom of years. The clock is indeed ticking, but every successful person in history felt the clock tick. The only difference is that they used the pressure to refine their desire and sharpen their decision. The truth remains, you are not too late. The remaining years of your life, be they 10, 20, or 50, can be filled with more progress, more meaning, and more success than the decades that came before. But you must choose to act. You must start now. The next year of your life will be defined by the actions you take in the next 10 days. Do not wait for capital. Do not wait for a perfect plan. Do not wait for a sign. The sign is the burning desire I have helped you awaken. The time is not tomorrow. The time is not next week. The time is now. Go and begin the work. This channel walks with you on the path of organized success.